Hey everybody, Anthony Dodge, the Model Train Outsider. There's been a lot of challenges out there. Sparky and Cousin Vinny and Pittsburgh, and so many guys are putting out so many challenges of what to do with your layout, and I haven't really participated because in most cases they don't really apply. For example, I can't do a caboose challenge since none of my German trains come with cabooses. So one challenge that did just come up is that's of interest to me was Jerry Satz did a challenge yesterday, and so I thought I would throw in my 2 cents worth. If you don't know the challenge, I've got a link down below this video. It's about your work area and keeping it clean and organized, which probably doesn't apply to me. So before I get into showing you how I have things organized for my layout and my in-house jobs, just share a few thoughts. In any aspect of the world, from art to bookish people like me to anything, you want to have a sense of organization, but you have the complete, utterly insane neat freaks that everything has to be exactly in a certain order at an exact time, no dust, no specks, to the complete chaotic disaster area person. My parents were polar opposites. My dad was a neat freak, the type of guy that had his tools. Not only did he have his tools and where they would be hung, he had them outlined so you knew exactly what tool went there on that spot. And don't you dare hang the wrong tool in the wrong place. To my mom, who was sort of like a messy kitchen is the sign of a good cook, and just had stuff scattered everywhere. All my children have various levels of artistic abilities, and they all kind of came from their two grandmothers, because Joyce's mom was also somebody who just had stuff piled around her in an organization only she understood. So I'm kind of in the middle. I do like to have order, but it is a chaotic order, or it's an ordered chaos. I know how it works and sets up, but somebody else would come in and go, what is where? So let me show you around my area and the places where I work in this house. All right, so the first area I'm going to show you is where I actually control my trains from. This is my Central Station 3, tablet, 2 mobile stations, smaller controllers, 1 computer, 2 computer, and then all kinds of multi-USB hubs and ports to power up all the cameras and stuff I have. Now, down below, I have my book organization. This is all my train books, mostly Märklin magazine and stuff related to my Märklin German train hobby. So those are my 2 garbage cans for recyclable and non-recyclable. Okay, as we're sitting, to my left, first of all, this is my testing and work area. This is when I'm working on a train and I don't want it connected anyhow to my system. I'm working on a locomotive, testing out a new car, something like that, before I go ahead and load it into my system. Also behind my system there, behind all these piled up wires, is my programming track. So this is not connected to my system. This is when I think I got a problem with the locomotive, where I'm sorting it out. And then behind there, that's the programming track. That's where when I want to add a new locomotive or anything. But Märklin has such an amazing, you don't even need a programming track anymore except for older locomotives. All right, but anyhow, as we turn to the left, this is the equivalent of a junk drawer. Down here, I have boxes that are filled, as you can, I don't know how well you can read that, but these are bits and bobs from many different model kits and things that are just left over, as well as you can just see random stuff thrown in. I have some of my electronics thrown in here, where I keep my transistors and decoders and anything that I'm going to be putting on. That's in here. I know it's there. There's stuff I just can't find boxes for, a bunch of spare platform parts there. I just throw them in here. And then all my other electronics, because I do a lot of stuff with European things, I get European plugs. So I have my converter, I have spare cameras, I have anything that attaches to the cameras, anything that charges up, for example, my Feller car system. The chargers are down in there. I have a couple of spare trains over here that I just keep here for some reason rather than stored over on the other place I'll show you. On the right, now to the right of my layout, to the right, we have my big storage bin. That's where I keep all my spray paint cans and everything. And scrap pieces of balsa wood and basswood for when I'm custom building hobbies. Again, larger pieces of boxes, things that have different kits in them. These are different model kits that are for building spare parts for shops and platforms, all that stuff. And then my actual model parts. So you can see building parts, windows and door inserts. This is stuff that's left over after I build kits, roads, garden, and stuff like that. And then my heavy-duty tool area. You can see a couple of my old things in there, and then heavy electronics, also stuff for my entertainment system and everything down there, so you can see spare HDMI cords. There's an organization. My micro paints, my model paints are in here. And then on top, this is my work area. This is the only area I now have for work. This is a small area, and I usually have to move things out of the way, or I set up a card table and use the card table for my work. But there is my new soldering station, my paint brushes, and some of my oils and glues that I use. And then I also set up a table. But right now, I am currently working from home. If you don't know, I'm a teacher. I teach German and mythology classes, so my teaching stuff is now on my work table. Okay, another work area I have is here. This is the counter to our wet bar. And since we're neither drinkers nor do we entertain a lot of people anymore, this becomes a work area or a storage area where if I'm working on a project, rebuilding something, a lot of my tools get stored here and just set down here. But you can see I've recently been cutting some heavy-duty polycarbonate to put around some pieces, areas of my track to keep butts from bumping in, because as you come through here, I have lost a lot of weight, so it's not as big an issue, but so I have some little glass see-through areas here to prevent me from messing up my trains, knocking them over. They're just little bumpers. A little wooden workbench I built up to house my hobby table saw. And then I also have a box I'll put up on here if I'm doing spray painting in the house. You shouldn't do that, but sometimes I don't feel like walking out to the cold garage to spray paint. Also our paper cutter. My wife is also a teacher, so we do a lot of paper cutting and stuff like that. And then my wargaming tabletop stuff is there. Those of you who've seen my live stream will recognize the village side, and below my village side is this area, the storage area. I picked these up for $5 each at a Habitats for Humanity. These little credenzas, I took the doors off and redid the shelving a little bit. And so this is where I store my layout building stuff. So over here are my ballast, which I really don't use a lot yet. My paints and Plastamold and big tubes of glue and anything else. The middle is where I store my track. So I have my straights, and then my curves and turnouts. And then down below is sort of another just whatever. Right now there's a big model that doesn't fit on the other side. Speaking of models, all my yet to be built model kits are over here. And then there's more model kits plus some other stuff stored down below. When I built my little fiddle yard over here, I put it on top of some old bookcases that I had built at one time and wasn't thrilled with, but they are a nice support for my little mini fiddle yard, or Schattenbahnhof as we call it in German. And then I store all my model train boxes here. So the large kit boxes here where it's a train and car set, my locomotive boxes, my car boxes, and so on and so on. And so it's all done in there. I can't really get in there. You won't be able to see it anyhow, but that is my storage world. One last place I guess I'd show you is This credenza, which I picked up for 10 bucks at Habitats for Humanity and cleaned up and then have since ruined. I was going to give this to my kids, but none of my kids felt like they had room for it in their living places, so I now use it as another work area. Hey, for 10 bucks, it was a beautiful piece of furniture. It is hardwood. It is not, this has got to be, I would say this is 60 to 70 years old. Furniture from the 50s or 60s. Just nicely done, big, heavy duty. But yeah, I paid 10 bucks for it, changed out all the hardware on it, cleaned it up, and put another veneer on it. It was kind of scratched up, and I originally was just going to take it down and refinish it completely, but when nobody else wanted it, it became a work area for me, and I have my 3D printer on here. Okay, so that was a quick look around my space and my organization, or lack thereof, however you want to do it. I do have an organization, and it works for me. Whether it's as clean and neat as some other people would want it, well, I've never lived my life the way other people think it should be done. I've got to do it my way. The world is chaos. It begins in chaos, it ends in chaos, and in between we try to create this false sense of order, and I just roll with the chaos. See you then. If my daughter moves out, this shall become my fiddle yard. I will be able to run a train from the other side and bring it in here and set up a big table in here as a fiddle yard. But for now, it's my daughter's room. And that is my mess and storage area.